Today we're talking about some Tom Ford, guys. We're talking top shelf, premium, exquisite. This house doesn't miss ever really, but we're going to talk about a fragrance that I think has been in question for quite some time, and a lot of people are curious but haven't pulled the trigger. Strap up, let's go for a ride. All right, welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the evening. Let's not beat around the bush here. Today we're talking about Tom Ford's Black Orchid for women. And a lot of you guys might be saying, hey, why are you doing women's fragrances? Number one, because I can. And number two, because this fragrance, even though it's listed for women, I put my nose to this fragrance and I'm intrigued by florals. So obviously when I see Orchid, I'm going to check it out. And I thought that this fragrance would, without question, be unisex. And today we're going to clarify if it actually is. But, you know, on Fragrantica, they want you to believe that this was designed with women in mind. Ooh, I like that rhyme. Ooh, oh, triple. Okay. Let's go ahead and without further ado, let's get our nose on this. This is the EDP concentration, I'm pretty sure. And ooh, that is in the air, baby. When it comes to florals, I don't think in many cases you can get away with calling something only a women's fragrance. Men rock florals too. Yeah, and right off rip, I gotta say, this is unisex. I don't care what anybody says. Probably many people have even said this, but in the air, this is crazy. Like if I showed up to somebody's house and this was just in the air, I wouldn't know what's about to go down. I feel like I'm in a hookah lounge. Very upscale though, you know, like Arabian Nights style, top shelf, you know, $300 drinks, if that even exists. I wouldn't know. I don't go outside. Man, this is special. The orchid note is not synthetic. It's not regular. It is just hyper juicy, hyper rich. It's layered. It's velvety. Without being, you know, when I think a lot of the beast mode fragrances, I think of a fragrance that goes across the room and grabs you by your neck and pulls you over to it. This is like a step above sillage, where it's not just wafting around. It will go across the room, but in a very mysterious, seductive way. I smell the orchid. It's fresh, but it not like a fresh fragrance, like a freshie. It's not a freshie. This is, I want to say it's like very lightly powdery. It's slightly gourmand. It's almost got like this chocolatey richness to it. It's like a combination between like silky, velvety, powdery, chocolatey in terms of the texture. It's sweet, but so duffed out in freshness by the florals. So on the sweet meter, I'd probably call it a strong 6. The concentration is so nice of this. It has warm and spicy elements to it, but they don't overpower the fresh floral aspect of it. Ambery, sweet, spicy. It also feels like maybe only 10%, but it also feels very earthy, like down to earth. It's the sweetness isn't moving synthetic. It's moving like very on some like Egyptian queen type vibes. Like you're in Egypt in those days, and this would have been their finest spice, their finest florals, their finest sweetness. They would have had cacao instead of chocolate. You know, you would have smelt the chocolate, but it would have been of a more non-milk chocolatey richness. It also like almost feels somewhat resinous, but the flower does a very good job of not letting it go resiny syrup. It's like resiny incensey. We have Tom Ford's known for taking even a simple idea and just pushing it, you know, complexity, sophistication, dimension, body, nose adventure. You know what I'm saying? So I imagine this fragrance would have a lot of depth in the note profile. Let's go ahead and check it out. And I want to read the story here because I know that Tom Ford took an orchid that was trademarked by him. I believe in California there was somebody who had a very signature orchid that couldn't be grown anywhere else. I'm going to guess it's a hybrid type of orchid. And he had a patent to it or something like that. And Tom Ford bought out the patent to that orchid. So there's no clone house that will be able to use the same orchid as he used. And there's not even another name brand fragrance that will be able to use the same orchid as him. And man, you really get the sense that that paid off in this fragrance. Again, I'm reading it as unisex. There's this, in the same way, we got to go back to some real talk. In the same way, when you smell Spice Bomb's entire line, right? Or the Noir line from Tom Ford. And you get this rich sense of like holiday spicy, ambery spicy, floral spicy, leathery, chocolatey, velvety, powdery, everything in that direction, right? You do get the sense that you can rock them both ways. Okay? Male and female. Even in the dupe area, like there's some female fragrances in the dupe category that I would wear. So this fragrance walks a fine line. Now, obviously for a woman, florals, powder, slightly gourmand, ambery, this would go beautifully on a woman. You wouldn't even question the beauty that would radiate off of a woman with this fragrance. But on a man, it has both edginess and seductive sweetness, which has a use case and an occasion for men. Date night, you know, concerts, going out, nightlife. It just is very alluring, mysterious, sweet, cozy, inviting. It's got all of the contrast that you want as a man when you're trying to get attention. This fragrance is a conversation starter, mystery, sweet, spicy, orchid fragrance. You know, clone houses are really going to be hard pressed to meet this DNA where it's at currently. They really are, because this is just so beautiful. I've heard of many clones that are good alternatives, but to what degree, I just don't know if I could have confidence that a clone could get to this profile without going synthetic and therefore diluting down and making the gap between the two fragrances even further, if that makes sense. Black Orchid by Tom Ford is an oriental floral fragrance for women. Black Orchid was launched in 2006. It was created by blah, 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 blah. Top notes are truffle. I get that. Gardenia, black currant. I get those, but they're so sweetened. There's not a lot of bite to this fragrance. Ylang-ylang, jasmine, bergamot, orange, amalfi, lemon. Mid notes are orchids, spices, gardenia, fruity notes, ylang-ylang, jasmine, lotus. This does feel like an orchid that, like an onion, has layers to its floral complexity. You go different areas. There is a sense of blend with this fragrance, but also dimension and journey to it as well, where the more you hang out around it, the more you realize there's more to it. Okay. And the base notes are Mexican chocolate, patchouli, vanilla, incense. Oh, there is an incense note. Okay. This play on chocolate, patchouli, incense, and orchid is so gripping. It's the heart of this entire fragrance. Amber, sandalwood, vetiver. You guys know how I feel about vetiver, and white musk. Okay. Let's go down to the note. Oh my gosh. I'm going to tell you guys that as overwhelming as this note profile is visually, I'm going to say two things. One, they have every right to list all of these notes, not just because they used them, but because I get a powerhouse of dimension with this fragrance. This is the fragrance that every single time you go to it and you smell it, you get another aspect of it the more you pay attention, the closer you get to it. There's not much on this note profile that I don't get. Okay, maybe I don't smell all of the florals. I get a few of them. Maybe I don't smell all of the citruses. Maybe I don't smell all of the warmth and the chocolatey, velvety powderiness that's coming through. But they certainly are all contributing in a way where the more the fragrance unravels itself, especially on skin, the more invited you are to actually see that, wow, there's so much complexity to this fragrance. To help you guys out here, I want to somewhat simplify, because I'm known for getting nerdy. It's what I do. We break things down. I'm the professor, the scientist of fragrance. If you want me to simplify this for you and you're considering this as a man or as a female, I'm going to just throw some fragrances out there. Spice Bomb Extreme, Tom Ford's Noir, Noir Extreme. Okay. Spice Bomb Infrared. I know I'm missing some other ones. Jimmy Choo Man. If you like anything in the wheelhouse of dark, mysterious, sweet, ambery, spicy florals, you know, like they took florals and they wrapped them in things like chocolate and spices and warmth and truffle, and it's dark, but it's inviting and sweet. It's not unique. It's unique, but familiar unique. It's not like a Terre de Hermes where you have to have a different type of personality to be that bright with bite, but with orange. Like there's so much conflicting contrast. There's not a lot of familiarity with Terre de Hermes in terms of like everyday things that you would smell. Even though this has a very luxurious touch to it, there are common notes that just hit your nose, like, oh, incense, oh, vanilla, oh, chocolate, oh, truffle. You know what I'm saying? Oh, warm spices, oh, orchid. You know what I'm saying? Like all of the notes that you're familiar with in the commonplace, but just ramped up to this height that just seems unattainable without this fragrance. But yeah, if you like any of those fragrances that I named, guys, this fragrance is for you, okay? I think a fragrance like this, I'm going to be honest with you. If you're under 20, I'd tell you to stay away from this fragrance for the simple fact that it's probably too complex for you, but it is so amazing to smell. If you wore this in class, your teacher would not know who in the room is wearing it because she would think there was another adult in there with her with such complexity and sophistication. I have to give this fragrance such a high score on stopping power alone. The signature and the silhouette of this fragrance is so respectable. I know without question, nothing in my collection can give me what I'm smelling right now. When we talk about the dark, seductive, sweet, spicy man and woman, this is a one-of-one DNA to me. And for that, I can easily give a fragrance like this, to me, a 10 out of 10. No question. Absolutely no question. Forget what you heard online about the varying opinions and stuff. If you're under 25, you will like this fragrance, but you may not appreciate the silhouette and uniqueness of a DNA like this because you don't have the type of use case that would make sense of this fragrance. You're not going on a ton of dates at expensive restaurants. You're not going to theaters and ballrooms. You're not wearing tuxedos and suits. You know, you're not dealing with older women. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the occasions for a fragrance like this. This is theater, this is ballroom, this is tuxedo, this is casino, this is out for a show, this is a comedy club, cigar lounge, hookah lounge. It's just got this upscale richness about it. It screams of date night and socializing at nighttime with the upper class. Yeah, I feel good about the descriptors there, but it's unique, but not, you have to be a certain type of personality for this unique. It's unique, but universally, the universal appeal of this hits all of the boxes that most women would want to check with a seductive fragrance. And for men with a seductive fragrance, you know what I'm saying? It walks that fine line. It doesn't go overly sweet. I think this is a slightly sweeter than my preference, but because it's so unique, I would go with it. You know what I'm saying? Angel Share is very sweet. Baccarat Rouge is sweet. And you still appreciate them for different reasons because of the complexity, because of the layering, because of the vibe that it gives you. Sometimes you can, you know, let go of certain things that you prefer when you're encountering such a unique DNA. I want a bottle of this. I'm going to be honest with you. I want a bottle. I don't want a clone. That's how I feel when I smell this. Unique one-of-one fragrance. I give it a 10 out of 10 for me. Guys, this is the scent bubble. This isn't you. This is me. 10 out of 10. For those occasions that I told you, I would wear it very signaturely. I would want to wear it limited use, but I would love the fragrance so much I'd try to find as many excuses to bust it out as long as people can't catch on to what I'm wearing. Ageless, cold weather, aerated weather, nightlife, fall, winter shine. But as long as you're indoors or aerating or just not hot, I think it could squeeze any season, any reason, indoors or outdoor aerated. We went over use case. Price for a bottle like this, guys. Let's just cut all the bull crap. $130 for 100 ml. That ain't bad, guys. That ain't bad at all. I would pay $130 for this fragrance. No question. Eau de parfum, guys. Eau de parfum. This is what we're smelling here. I don't think that you need to say, oh, well, I'm only going to get a travel spray of this. You can wear it very sparingly as like just special occasion, but it's so good, guys. I personally would easily. This is what you're spending already on name brand fragrances at Sephora, guys. This is so signature. It's worth every penny. Now, again, for those of you who can't afford a fragrance like this, does Fragrance Buy have this? $70. Wait. 70, guys. Yo, 70. Now, again, you can see there's some clones here, right? Like, I've heard of this Just Jack being a clone. There's some other Orchid clones on the market. I think Maison Alhambra. There's several other ones. We'll do some videos of that later. But 70. Is that a 3.4? Oh, 30 ml. Okay. 117. Disregard everything I said. But yeah, guys, I mean, look at the reviews. There's only 12 here, but 5s across the board. It's Black Orchid is special, man. In fact, you know what's crazy? I'm gonna give you guys real spill here. I've smelled Black Orchid in Sephora's, the 2 variations. Oh, 50 ml. Sorry. Wait, no. Did it say 100 ml? Sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, shoot. Look at me, all bamboozled. Did it say 100 ml? Yeah, 100 ml is 117. So what's the 50? The 50's 90. I think this is well, so 90 versus what? Extra $30 for another 50 ml? Yeah, bro. I mean, if you guys are playing it safe, 50 will get you a long way. But for an extra 30 bucks, I don't know if I think I have to go 100 ml, right? Worst case scenario, sell some decants of it just to get your money right. Yeah, I'm still going to get the 100. Anyway, great fragrance. We'll go over alternatives later, guys, because I need to get my alternatives in order before I start recommending a fragrance like this, because this just, for the price point, you really question. If you smell the original, sorry, I think I got into a story time earlier and I just forgot. I went into a Sephora and I smelled this and the variations of it, and I thought it was cool. But now that I'm smelling this EDP in like my own room, I really like it. I really, really like it. Again, I think you can easily rock this as a man. That's nice. That's really nice, guys. Yo, listen, I don't know if I missed anything in terms of the review, but if you guys like how, not only how I describe fragrances, but which fragrances I say are good or bad and what you should pick up and whatnot, I say that's blind buy worthy. If you're under 30, I think it's not blind buy worthy. You have to sample it because you have to be a man that can carry yourself with the same level of dimension, or at least be in the right occasion for using that fragrance. Whereas I think 30 and up, showstopper, it's going to fit on everybody. The appeal there is just so unique. Anyways, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much. Definitely let me know if you have Black Orchid, which one that you've smelled, if you have it in your collection, what your use case was. I want people to be more descriptive about not just, oh, I have the fragrance, it's good or bad. Where do you wear it? A lot of you guys will see me go in the comments and say, where do you wear it? How often do you wear it? Where do you live? Those things are important. Saying a fragrance is bad or good with no context is just like, it's a ripoff to the community because it sells an idea that isn't true. You know what I'm saying? It sells an idea that's unjustified in being said, in my humble opinion. Make sure you turn on your notification bell so you guys can see my latest episodes, and I really appreciate everybody for rocking with the Scent Bubble. We got collabs coming, we got game shows coming, we got new content, and most importantly, we are going into the fragrance world with a vengeance, with beautiful fragrances like Tom Ford Black Orchid. I definitely think I'm going to be picking up a bottle of this. When I come across fragrances in the sample category that I like, I put them on a list and I just periodically go through and buy them. If you're being a stickler for price, one thing I lean towards is saying, I think Fragrance by CA has some very competitive deals on this fragrance. However, you can also go to Facebook groups, guys. I'm certain with this particular DNA that people have bought Black Orchid and decided, you know what, I like it, but it's not for me, and are selling it for much cheaper. Yeah, I think I've said enough. I really appreciate you guys. I hope you have a blessed week. Black Orchid's a keeper in my book. In fact, it almost reminds me of when I was a kid. This is such a random reference, and it's not going to help anybody out. But when I was a kid, I used to go to this mall in Arizona called Arizona Mills. And when it was first built, there was this place called the Rainforest Cafe. I'm sure they're still around, but it's not really around anymore very much in Arizona. And when you went in, it was like this giant restaurant that was covered in like jungle leaves and stuff. So like wall to wall, it just had these very wavy kind of walk paths and aquariums everywhere, and there were some waterfalls in there. It was kind of like an outdoor indoor type of diner or restaurant, and you would just hear rushing water, and you would hear little audio clips of like toucans and different birds. And when you went in there, because of the food and the beverage and everything, it kind of had this very orchidy smell for some reason. I don't know if that was just like my nostalgia or whatever, but I remember going in there and just smelling like this fresh floral mixed drink vibe. but with rushing water and like this aeration. It's somewhat reminiscent of that. It's almost like if I was wearing Tom Ford's Noir and I walked through the Rainforest Cafe. That's how I would feel. Random TMI for the channel, but whatever. Anyways, guys, love you. Have a blessed week. I'll talk to you soon. Until next time, this is the Scent Bubble. Peace.